Hey everybody, welcome into NESN Around, the NESN.com podcast about nothing and also everything in sports. I think that might be the new tagline. I found something there.
I like it. You did it on a whim, and I would expect nothing less from you and nothing less from the show, to be quite honest.
That was an underhanded way of saying that I am not prepared enough for Ricky's liking. And so we have a little tension already.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Never tension. Never tension here.
But I'm not. Anyway, I'm NESN.com's Mike Cole. That's Ricky Doyle. We're here in the NESN Digital Studio, NESN Studio D, whatever. I still don't know what we're calling it. What is it?
I don't know. We'll probably do this every week until somebody clarifies what the name is. So.
But hey, until then, we're going to talk about a little bit of everything in the world of sports, get into what happened the past week, what's going to happen next week. And, you know, probably make fun of a few people along the way, especially, I can't wait for this. We have return of viral breakdown. We're going to talk about a guy lifting some weights. Didn't go so well for him. But before we get to that, let's go back to last week, revisit our predictions from last week. Ricky, why don't you get this out of the way so hopefully people forget about it by the end of the show.
Yeah, so what we do is we make a bold prediction each week at the beginning, the end of the show, and then we revisit it at the beginning of the show. Last week, my prediction was that the Patriots would trade Malcolm Butler to the Saints leading up to the draft, perhaps during the draft, which I still think this trade's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, so I guess my prediction was wrong. But I still think there's too much smoke there to not have a little flame. So I think this is going to happen, but like I said, it didn't happen in the 1 week span, the 1 week window that I allotted myself. So that's on me, guys.
I forgot that was your prediction last week, and I was going to use that as my prediction this week. I'm going to change it on the fly. I'll have something new by the end of the show.
We both can agree that we think this trade's going to happen.
The one thing that I was going to mention is not to get off on a tangent already, but a story came out earlier this week from the MMQB saying somebody within the Saints was saying that they have a lot of draft picks. They like this draft class. They're content with keeping those draft picks. They aren't going to overpay for Malcolm Butler. Despite having already agreed to a contract with him, they're just waiting to make the actual trade. Too many pieces in place already.
You're too deep into the game.
Too much GM speak where it's like, we love this draft.
It's borderline annoying.
Yeah.
It's because it's all semantics and language now.
It's just a big game of chicken.
So the whole thing sucks. But hopefully if it's going to happen, it happens sooner rather than later. So we have to make it our prediction again next week.
Yep. So that's also one of my predictions this week. So I think it does happen. And again, we're doing this on Thursday. I don't know when this will go up. He could be traded by the time that this thing hits the internet.
They're probably crossing T's and dotting I's right now as we speak. That's why we're going to start going live with this thing.
So you weren't necessarily right, but this could end up being I guess you did put the week, time frame on it. A couple weeks ago, I said the Celtics would be the number one pick. Kind of a similar situation. You're just a little bit ahead of your time.
That could be a good thing.
Yeah, right.
You were thinking with 2 steps ahead. We got to dial it back a little bit.
I know, no kidding. For mine, I said that in a more serious note, I said there'd be another bombshell revelation in the Aaron Hernandez situation. I would say I was
very vague.
Yeah, it is vague, but that's how it's the key to making good predictions, is to be vague. And I think that there's the whole thing with the prison lover and things like that. The suicide notes. Was the John 3:16 out before we?
I don't remember what was out at the point.
I think I'm going to give myself.
I don't think it was. Actually.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give myself 50%. I don't think there's anything that made me was jaw dropping, but a few add up.
I'd give you in the 60. I'd at least give you a passing grade.
A few oddball things that happened to add up. I don't want to give myself too much credit because you're right. It was a very vague prediction.
You're not going to hang this work on your refrigerator, but it's certainly passing. It's passable.
Yeah, and hanging. Work about a man killing himself is not something I would hang on the refrigerator anyway, Ricky.
No. Well, I don't know.
I don't know what kind of refrigerator you have.
You're a pretty sadistic human, so.
Not to laugh about a guy killing himself. Anyway, let's get into this week's segments.
Speaking of the draft, we just touched on the draft, the Malcolm Butler thing. This is. I don't know. What do you think about the draft? I know you have some thoughts.
I hate the draft.
My thing about the draft is, you know what the draft's for? Losing franchises. Well, fan bases of losing franchises.
I hate the draft, not the action. It's just the whole lead up to the draft has become too much, and this is really my issue.
NFL.
Well, and this is my issue with just football in general. I love football. Nothing better than a Sunday full of football. I like watching the NFL. It's really become. It almost just depresses me, especially as somebody who likes baseball. Probably is my favorite sport. It's a dying sport. I'm probably just jealous as a baseball guy.
Yeah.
the fact that everything in football has become so big. I mean, they throw a goddamn parade over the release of the schedule. Like
the release of the schedule
thing.
when you already know months ahead of
Right,
time
who
their
the
opponents
opponents
are. So really, this is just a matter of dates. And unless you're booking a trip to one of
Right.
these destinations, I don't know why.
And why the hell are you going to? Who is going to the draft as a fan? Like, I get it. They've done it. They have done a nice job of like putting in some different attractions.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're going to a big place with a bunch of strangers to hear a list of names read. That's the draft.
with no clue whether
Right.
they're going to amount to.
And here's
you're
the
going to
other
look
thing.
foolish if you cheer for a draft pick and then 3 years from now the guy sucks ass.
Well, like and this is a me thing. I'm ignorant when it comes to a lot of this. Like I watch college football, but I don't study the draft, so obviously I'm not going to be into it as much. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. That drives me up a tree as well. People who pretend that they know what they're talking about. There are people who know what they're talking about. People who pretend
it's the exact same thing as we had this rant a couple months ago with a month ago about the NCAA tournament. Everybody's suddenly an expert the day of the NCAA tournament.
Right.
When the rest of the year, it's like,
Yeah,
well,
it's the same
where
thing.
were these mock drafts and film reviews while, a couple of months ago leading up to this thing? Now all of a sudden you have all this treasure trove of information. I don't know. It's pretty ridiculous. And the cliches is what we're going to get into now.
Well, and that's the thing. And this is the cliches. If you Google NFL draft cliches, this has been done before. A lot of people, just a list of 60 to 70 different cliches, and they're perfect crutches for people who don't know what they're talking about to say, he's got a good motor, he's got a good length, he's plays well in the phone booth, or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do here? You just want to list some of our favorite ones and go
you
back
just
and
named
forth?
a few.
Yeah.
That were
Not
at the
to
top
take some off of your list.
I'm a big fan of he runs downhill.
Runs downhill, yeah.
Unless we're at the Blue Hills, unless we're center field in Houston, there's not a lot of actual downhill running going on in sports. But
and the thing is, we're not stupid. We understand what they're getting at. Yes,
yeah, I get it, but it's ridiculous. You can take the top off the defense. You can take the top off it. I also I just like this is a basic one. Just when they call us, they really like a guy's intangibles and say he's a football player.
He's a football player.
He loves to
I
play
got that.
football.
I have a list here of about 30
what
of
do you
them,
got?
and I bolded and italicized some of my
Some of your
favorites.
favorites.
He's a football player is one of
Football player.
my favorite because he is a football
I would
player.
imagine that would be a prerequisite to having your name called in the draft.
It's easy to make those kind of jokes, but it's at this end. Think about what we're saying here. This is ridiculous. Yes, we all know.
It's also, how the hell do you know? It's like, oh, this guy loves football. This guy could be the most miserable human
Right.
on the planet.
And
you don't know. You're with this guy for an hour, and all of a sudden you have all this information.
Well, it's not that. I mean,
He
I
could
don't
be a
wanna-
scumbag behind closed doors.
I
I'm not
don't
ruling
wanna-
anything out.
I don't want to discredit.
I'm discrediting it.
No, I'm not going to discredit the reporting that some of these people have done, where they've talked to people who are a little closer to these players than than they are. Like Mel Kiper's not sitting in a room with 150, potential top 5 round draft picks. So you got to do the little, sourcing, but these things have been wrong a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot. I'd love to go back. Maybe I don't know what they said about Michael Vick when he was drafted, but I'm guessing that it wasn't a cliche for likes to go outside and kill dogs.
Yeah,
so,
no, I don't think that was, at least when I was doing my reporting.
No.
It wasn't on my
Speaking
Sky
of
report.
dogs, pin his ears back is one that
that's a good one.
I like.
I didn't
It's
think of
just he pins his ears back. Okay, what? Combine hero, love that. That's a nice. Guys who I hate combine heroes. If I was to be drafting a team, I would not be necessarily looking first at the combine stats. I like guy who shows up on tape.
Pops on film, baby.
Yeah.
Pops on film.
Quarterback who can. I want a quarterback who make all the throws.
You
Make
gotta
all
make
the throws.
throwing is a huge part of playing in the quarterback position. So yeah, you want a quarterback.
Because
who can do
Ricky,
that.
I don't know if you've heard, it's a quarterback league.
It is.
It's a quarterback-driven league. You're looking for a franchise quarterback.
You know what the important thing is as an organization though?
What's that?
You get the guy you want. We got the guy we wanted.
Well, yeah.
I would think if you were selecting that, there's a pretty good chance you like something that he brings to the table. You certainly don't hate the pick.
If you're a crappy team, this is a guy you can plug and play. You plug and play. And maybe he plays well in space, gets it at the point of attack.
Keep in mind, he's raw though. He's a
raw.
tweener. He's a tweener. I don't know.
So maybe you want to look for a safe pick because there's always every pick or the best picks are the safe picks when you're about to give 19, 20-year-old kids millions of dollars to go play a sport where you're banging heads against each other for 60 minutes on Sundays. So those are safe players.
Yeah. Either way, it's. I just know that this is the most unpredictable day in sports. What was it? Was it Trey Wingo that had a tweet saying this is the most unpredictable day in sports?
Yeah. One I do want to touch on though. Looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. Probably one that doesn't stand the test of time. I don't think you can say that anymore. Probably comes off a little misogynistic. But that's also discrediting Jane's football ability, of which we don't know how much she has. So.
No, for all we know, she could pop on film. I just haven't got the tape yet. So.
Good in space and runs downhill.
That would really suck to say somebody runs uphill.
I know.
You don't hear that as really.
He's got good pad level, but he runs uphill.
You don't hear that when you're going over strengths and weaknesses.
No.
Like, this guy really runs uphill. Looks like he's moving in quicksand.
So subjective. All right, so we're talking draft. Let's do our own draft now. This was your idea. I'm still not entirely sure where it came from. I like it. Why don't you explain it?
We was kind of sitting there. We spitballing some ideas. How can we incorporate the draft into the show in a way that maybe we haven't done before, at least. I don't know if anybody has, but I also got to thinking. One of our good friends, LeVar Ball. We've discussed him several times throughout the course of the show. In how he's building his brand and everything. So I thought, what if we built our own brand?
Sure.
We built our own brand with any athletes. Mm-hmm. So I decided maybe we should do our own little draft in which we draft athletes from specific sports to build our own personal brands here at NESN.
We're basically building a stable.
A faction.
A faction.
And that was another thing. I don't know what we were talking about. Some probably stupid conversation with it was Ric Flair being a 2-time Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And we were explaining that to somebody how he's in a faction and all this. And
that's
it's got
point,
the juices flowing.
Yep.
So basically that's what we want to do. We want to build the Ricky brand and the Mike brand here at NESN Around. Taking into account, I think when we figured out how we're going to go about this, we said, we'll take into account a player's potential, player's on-field skill, marketability obviously being the huge thing.
Yep.
Basically just pinpointing some stars, one from the NHL, one from the NFL, one from the NBA, one from Major League Baseball, and a wild card. Because there's other sports out there, believe it or not, other than the Big Four. So we decided let's do a little draft. Let's step up to the podium, being this table that we've been sitting at for however many weeks. And we did determine earlier that via coin flip, we didn't have it on tape, unfortunately. It was a very discombobulated coin flip, I would say. But it worked in your favor.
Yep.
So you have the first pick as we build our brand here. Did I explain it good enough?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
That's good. I have the first pick. I think there's only one real option here. I'm taking LeBron James as my NBA player. You look at a guy like LeBron, he clearly has the shoe money, the talent. He's the best player in the world. He's still got some longevity. I think he's probably going to play 5-6 more years at least, maybe even up to 10. One of the most recognizable athletes in the entire world. Just seems like a slam dunk, pardon the pun.
Okay, so to regroup here now, I don't have to take an NBA player.
Right.
I can take anybody. And again, we're going based off projecting out how big of a star somebody could be, how many years left the specific person has left in the tank. LeBron, obviously, I feel like he's kind of head and shoulders above everyone. He's still relatively young. He's got the Jordan type thing where his,
Also,
he's got to stand the test of time.
Not afraid to speak out every once in a while. Just,
exactly.
Not boring.
So I'm gonna stick with the for my first pick, the first round. I'm gonna stick with the kind of win now philosophy, but also I think somebody that'll stand the test of time, and that's Tom Brady.
Sure.
Tom Brady obviously getting up there in age, so the window's a little small, but as the arguably the greatest football player of all time, I think that he's a very marketable guy pretty much until he dies.
Yeah, that makes sense. I had to maybe went a little early with my baseball player here, but I jumped at the ability to take Bryce Harper, a guy who I think is ultimately going to be the best baseball player in Major League Baseball. I think eventually he's better than Trout, which is probably, I don't know if that's a hot take or what, but he's having a great year this year. He's only 24 years old, probably going to end up in New York, so he's going to be a marketable superstar. I think his best years are still very much ahead of him, so I think he's the kind of guy who could help save baseball.
The face of baseball.
Right, yeah. I just, a lot of eggs in that basket.
All right, I'm going to go, I'm going to table my baseball one for a little bit because Harper would have been my pick if I went in that direction as well. I like the benefits of having the winning the coin flip. I'm going to go with my wild card. Now, I'm going to go on a little bit of a limb. Actually, I don't know if this is going on a limb. It's Conor McGregor.
Yep.
I say going out on a limb because the thing is with these combat sports athletes is they're one left hook away from being irrelevant. I mean, Ronda Rousey, if we had done this thing a couple years ago, probably would have been up in there
As
a potential wild card. So obviously she's now doing God knows what.
Engaged.
But I'm here for the now. I'm looking to build some collateral in the early years in the hopes that my long shots pay off. So I'm taking Conor McGregor in round 2.
Sure.
Where he goes, the money seems to follow, and I like money. So
yeah, I like that. I like that pick. Actually, that was a guy I considered as well. But you scooped him up, so more power to you.
Good drafting, good way of developing.
And now I need a little strategy here. Since you already took your football player, I know I can take any football player. Since you already took your wild card, I've got like multiple supports to choose from. So I'm going to go with the position scarcity, if you will. I took Austin Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs. This kid is, how old is he? He just scored, I think he's 19. If I'm not mistaken. Yes, 19 years old. Same birthday as I have. So that also, we're looking to line up a bunch of guys with the same birthday because that's a money birthday.
Yeah.
40 goals, 19 years old, playing in the hockey hotbed of Toronto. If it's like the New York Yankees of the NHL. Also, I love the fact that this kid's American. He's got a great story. Comes from the desert. He's going to help cultivate hockey across America. You can fast forward to 2018 if NHL players at the Olympics, or maybe even all the way ahead to 2022. This guy has the potential to be the face of American hockey, a la TJ Oshie. But I think he's a better player in the long run. He's obviously much younger, so I think that you got to scoop up a hockey player somewhere. These guys are boring as hell.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of an NHL issue.
Yeah, I don't think Austin Matthews is necessarily exciting, but he's the best. We got to pick one. So.
Well, that's the first pick in which we you project out a little bit more than the proven stars that we had already mentioned. For my third pick, I'm gonna tap into the NBA waters. This is difficult because LeBron is head and shoulders above everybody in terms of for the purposes of this exercise. But I'm gonna take Russell Westbrook. There's just something very intriguing about him as a player, whether you like him or not. Just based on not only his style of play, obviously, the guy's dynamic talent, but he's also pretty outspoken, polarizing figure.
Fashion icon,
yeah. So he's just got a lot of off the court appeal, for better or worse. Just something that I think as a person, as the marketing guru that we're becoming, that I want to add to my stable. So Russell Westbrook's my pick, my NBA guy.
Speaking of being a marketing guru, I'm going to take a guy who's had, I don't know how old he is. He's probably, 21, 22 years old and already had a handful of issues. Just nothing serious, but there's some smoke to this fire. But I'm taking a risk. I'm taking Ezekiel Elliott, running back for the Dallas Cowboys. Came down to him or Prescott because I don't know if you sense a theme here. I like guys who are playing on big stages for big brand teams. It doesn't get any bigger than the Cowboys. I think this guy ultimately is the better player than Dak Prescott, so I'm going Zeke Elliott, big projectable future. I mean, the guy's a monster. He's going to be a very good football player for a long time, playing in the biggest market.
Speaking of big stage, big market, I'm switching back over to MLB. I'm taking Chris Bryant of the Chicago Cubs. I don't think there's any question that Mike Trout is still the best player in baseball, but I think we've seen to this point that he's not really going to take that face of baseball kind of. I hate that title. I don't want to call it.
I know,
that,
I do too.
But you know what I'm getting at.
It's the most quantifiable way of playing.
Yeah. So I just, from what we've seen, it doesn't seem like he has that type of personality. And now
or
it's still
any personality.
Yeah. I see. It's still early in Brian's career, so I don't know how much he has it either. But already you see there's something a little kind of. Something you can gravitate towards. He has the look. He obviously has the power.
Right.
He's got a lot of things that kind of pop on film that's still one of our NFL draft.
Much more likely to play on the big stage. Already has. Whereas we
could
don't
see
even
him
know
there.
if Mike Trout's going to get back to the playoffs ever.
Exactly. I could see him there for several Octobers in a row.
So last round, I went to my off the board pick here. In hindsight, probably should have picked a soccer player somewhere along the way because it's the most popular sport in the world, and I actually thought of that. So I could call it audible and say Ronaldo here or something like that. But I'm sticking with what I
statue
had.
comes with him.
Serena Williams. I'm taking her. I think, clearly, I was going to say her best days are behind her. Not clear. She's the world's oldest world's number one, in the history of tennis, if I'm not mistaken. Very marketable. We just saw this week she's pregnant. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
How big of a story that is. She's just one of the most famous female athletes in the entire world. I still think she's got a few years left as a top tennis player, so why not?
Well, I got to take an NHL player, and as you mentioned, most of them are relatively boring. I mean, unless you would have maybe taken an Ovechkin type, which would be kind of in the win now thing. But I'm going to project out a little bit as well. You went with Austin Matthews. I'm going to take Connor McDavid. all signs point to him not having really much of a personality to this point in his NHL career, but I think ultimately talent could win out in that sport. I mean, we've seen it with Crosby, who's very boring as well. So I'll take McDavid, youngest captain in NHL history. You guys is obviously he's an immense talent.
He looks boring.
Yeah, he's just very generic.
Looks like a deer. But hell of a hockey player. All right, this year the NFL is doing this thing, and again, this kind of speaks to the popularity of the NFL, where it's getting to the point where it's rotating host cities for the draft. This year they're heading to Philly. Philly's a lightning rod for sports talk and controversy.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they'll get into this not really having a whole lot of sports success. So let's talk about Philly. Let's say some nice things, some bad things about Philly.
Yeah.
Let's go real rapid fire here, kind of run down a little potpourri of Philly.
Yeah, we started talking about the fact that it is in Philly, and we sent a few people down there from NESN.com, and I just felt like we had to mention something about them doing the venue change at some point in the show. So I think, like you said, the rapid fire is a good way to go about this. So we came up with some topics. We'll just quickly go through them. Kind of first thing that comes to mind. We did this with the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs a few weeks ago. Didn't go quite as rapid fire as we had planned, so we'll try and
clear that up.
Yeah, we'll try and just get what we have to get off our chest immediately. So let's start with negative, because we're very prone to negativity. It's what we do. Considering all that Philadelphia has to offer, give me one reason that Philadelphia sucks, Mike.
It's generally an overrated sports town.
Yeah.
Good sports town in terms of really passionate fans, but they don't win. They haven't won anything other than the Phillies winning the World Series.
You know what they're probably excited for is the NFL draft.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's the type of fan base that
it's
gets
getting to the point where we're told how good the Eagles can be every year, and they're not. The Phillies stink. The Flyers are meh. The Sixers obviously are awful. They don't win a lot. I'm not a fan.
I'm gonna go with the fact that they call Italian ice water ice.
That is stupid.
That I have a lot of issues with the Philadelphia vernacular. I hate the fact that they call subs hoagies. Yeah. I think a cheesesteak is a glorified steak and cheese sub. So I got issues with that. Yeah. But the Italian ice being called water, nothing appeals to me about water ice.
Doesn't even make
water
sense.
ice.
It sounds like
water ice. It makes zero sense, and
when I think of water ice, I think of like what comes out of a Zamboni. That's not something I want to.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a room temp water in a vial or something. So yeah, that sucks. I don't
that's
like
not
that
good.
at all. All right, one reason that Philly doesn't suck, because we are, contrary to popular belief, not all doom and gloom.
Yeah, well, depends. I'm gonna go with the TV show Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think it's a really funny TV show. I'm not alone in that. Been around forever. It's good. I like it. I like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which happens to take place in Philadelphia.
Good call. I like the complex that they have.
That was gonna be mine, but I saw you already had it. So
I like the fact that all in that one little area of the Wells Fargo Center, Citizens Bank Park, Lincoln Financial Field, all in like
and
this
it runs right along the highway.
Yeah,
as well.
it's pretty.
Cool.
It's pretty convenient. It's something I wish more teams did, and more teams would replicate going forward. But it's pretty cool, easy to navigate. So I dig that. All right, let's go with favorite Philadelphia athlete, current or all time.
I'm going from the past here, and I got a little gruff from our producer Andre Cacciatore. I'm taking Pedro Martinez. If you give me a chance to take Pedro Martinez, I'm taking Pedro Martinez always and forever.
What did he styling 10 games?
Whatever. No, but if I had to actually pick one, I'd take John LeClair, good American boy who played for the Flyers for a while. I like John LeClair a lot.
I thought about Jimmy Rollins. Ultimately going with Brian Dawkins.
Sure.
I loved watching Brian Dawkins. He's
awesome.
a real fun player. Both of those guys, but I'll go with Dawkins. I'll go with the football side of things.
And the fact that we both went with former players kind of speaks to my first point. So
yeah.
Not a whole lot there to be really excited about. Clay Buchholz.
Exactly. All right. So the draft is happening on the Rocky Steps. That statue seems to bounce around. I don't know. It's like, where in the world is the Rocky statue nowadays? But what do you think of the Rocky statue? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Is it absurd that they have a statue for a movie character?
See, I had to pick. I guess I had to pick thumbs up or thumbs down. If not, I could just do this because I really don't care. Straight across.
Yeah.
I will go thumbs up. It is kind of ridiculous, but Rocky's synonymous with that city, so whatever. I don't.
Yeah, see, I had no problems with it. I'm going thumbs up, going thumbs way up on it. Sure, it's nothing more than a movie prop, but I think the fame that came for it kind of happened organically. You know what I mean? It's not like they were forced to.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
So it's just kind of thing that people kind of gravitated towards, and I dig that. I also tried to. I was reading. I think they tried to auction off a few times to raise money for charity. It hasn't happened because I don't know who the hell wants to buy that thing. Yeah. But I like it. I dig it. Some people want to see it, take pictures with it. go nuts. All right. Now that we established that the Rocky statue, Rocky Steps are kind of the stage for the NFL draft, it's a U.S. landmark, I guess you could say. I don't know. Maybe that's a stretch. But
wait. You want to stick with Rocky? Rocky character?
Yeah. What's your favorite Rocky character?
All right. My favorite Rocky character, the robot. From Rocky 4, Paulie's robot. He brings him the cake at the beginning of the movie. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Rocky 4, best Rocky movie. There are no other options.
Yeah, I agree. I'm thinking Mickey, the trainer. That was my initial pick, but since you went a little off the grid, I'm going to go off the grid and say Thunderlips,
Okay.
Played by none other than Hulk Hogan. Mostly because that's the worst Rocky of them all. By the way, Rocky 3. I think that movie just completely stinks. But I don't. That scene with Hulk Hogan and Rocky in the ring, that little charity event, I just don't get what the end game is.
I don't either.
Like, are they supposed to have real physical? I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. That movie sucks. That is the worst one. Oh, so bad. But yeah, I like Thunderlips. He's a guy. I don't know what he's up to, but I like him. All right, back to what was I? The landmark.
Landmark.
I got so juiced up about where we got this going on. Philadelphia, a lot of history there.
They got a bell.
Now that I think of this, it has like no connection whatsoever. What's the most overrated U.S. landmark?
Well, no, I almost took the bell. It's a bell with a crack in it, the Liberty Bell. But it's so cool. I love history. I love early American history. Philly is an awesome city. I like D.C. as well. But the most overrated U.S. landmark, give me the St. Louis Arch. It's an arch. You got half the McDonald's logo in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
Nice, good.
Expansion.
Okay, cool. I still don't like it. It symbolizes Western expansion.
Yeah.
Andre said. I don't like it.
Well, that's the thing. That's what's.
Manifest destiny. Sure.
Well, that's the tough thing about picking an overrated landmark, because I feel like you're always going to piss somebody off.
right.
But, so whatever. I mean, I don't really care about
It's an
that.
arch.
Because I'm going with the Hoover Dam. I'm going with the Hoover Dam. Listen, I understand it serves a purpose. It's keeping the power on for some people, and I don't want to downplay the fact that people lost their lives in the construction of this thing. It's pretty impressive, impressive thing.
Yeah,
but who the hell wants to visit that? Who wants to visit?
I get why you call it a landmark, and it is considered a landmark, but it's a dam, for Christ's sake.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
which is why I think it's incredibly overrated. Honorable mention, Niagara Falls. Screw with that. U.S. landmark you'd most like to see host an NFL draft. We'll wrap it up with this.
Give me the Grand Canyon.
That would be pretty
cool.
Yeah. You haven't been to the Grand Canyon?
No, I haven't. I went to Arizona every spring in college for baseball and never actually got a chance to get out there. I really still regret it to this day.
I'd like to get out there.
You've never been out?
No.
Yeah, it just looks, and I mean, for an event like that, it would be really cool. Like the coming back from the commercial would be the best part. They show like scenic shots.
Yeah.
I think it's not a terrible idea. I think it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, it's just getting people out there.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. And that was my other point is that it would just be
cool.
awesome to listen to all these reporters bitching and moan about having to go to the middle of nowhere in Arizona. Yeah.
Mine is completely on the other end of the spectrum. I go with the Space Needle. Built in 1962 for the World Fair. I've been to Seattle. I just think it's a really cool city. I think it's a pretty underrated city.
That's going to happen at some point too.
Yeah, and I just think that's a pretty good place to have it. Obviously, the 12th man out there.
Yeah,
Seahawks, it's a good football city. Yeah. So I think if it's not the Space Needle, maybe down at the market area.
The fish market?
Yeah, down by the water. But something in Seattle. Seattle's a pretty cool place.
Bold prediction, next 3 years, Seattle will host the NFL draft.
All right, you heard it here first. Well, hopefully we're still on the air by now.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, so...
Hopefully we're alive.
That kind of, that too. Anything else you want to get to with the draft, Mike?
Nope.
We'll put it to bed.
No, that was a lot
Usually
of draft
do
talk.
our put it to bed, so we'll put this to bed now.
Put this discussion to bed.
But you mentioned Serena Williams.
Yeah.
Who is your wild card pick in the first annual.
Which was probably a dumb move,
messing
actually.
around.
Because I'm losing her for the next, 6 months.
Yeah, you put in her. She's going right on paternity leave.
This was a terrible idea.
Well, you give good benefits.
That's true. So let's.
Do you want to touch on? You mentioned her pregnancy, and we have a little.
She's pregnant.
Yes,
she's gonna have a
seventh child
with a Reddit co-founder. I forget the guy's name. So good for them. Mazel tov. Let's create a sports baby.
This is
2 athletes, put them together. That's how you make a baby. Who do you think? So, if you could.
This is another.
There's no way to. I don't know how.
This is another outlandish idea we had. We were, kicking around ideas.
We're not the first people to bring this up either. I mean, it's a. It's a tale as old as time.
Basically, it was so we want to build a baby.
Yeah.
We want to take a man.
So maybe, hey, we got to replenish our brand at some point.
Exactly. So now this is a really
Bryce Harper's not going to play forever.
No, and you got to start thinking ahead now. So we're building a baby for our brand, the brand babies. And so obviously, they got to take a male athlete and a female athlete. And I don't know if we're going to do this artificially, how exactly we're going to go about the medical proceedings here. But we're going to make a baby with these two. And do you want to kick us off with this one?
Yeah.
Which two athletes you're bringing together?
I did kind of nail this one in. I took two of my people on my team. Give me
well, you got. I think you could arrange a sit down with them at least to gauge their potential interest.
Get them all in the same room, orientation, and kind of pair them off.
Here's an off the wall idea. I'm just gonna throw it at you guys. What do you think about reproduction?
Obviously, talking about Serena. She's the only female I have. So I'm taking Serena and Bryce Harper. I think it's just a couple of freak athletes and probably gonna have pretty good hair. So.
All right. See, I went a little different with mine. I went a little,
Yours, I'm interested to hear. Yeah.
Beyond the obvious. Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird.
All right, so I'm taking, for my male, I'm taking Michael Phelps. He's a very oddly shaped human. He's rather disproportionate. He's like 6'4" with a 6'7" wingspan.
Filled with water.
He's like Gumby, basically. He's got double jointed ankles, so he basically got the flippers, the natural flippers, if you will. Not to mention the guy's a proven winner on the big stage.
Sure.
Just a great Olympian.
Yeah,
I want this. I want this for my male. And he's been through some mistakes, so he can pass this on to the next generation. For my female, I'm going to take Alex Morgan, a soccer player.
Yes, she is.
Because, one, I want somebody that has the ability to play a sport with a ball. I think, where I'm going with the swimming side of things for the male, I need somebody with a little more hands-eye coordination to balance things out.
Dexterity,
but ultimately, my end game here, my ultimate goal of building this baby of the future, that's going to dominate the sports landscape for generations, is I want to dominate land and sea.
Sure.
I want to dominate on the soccer pitch. I want to dominate in the pool. I want to build an athlete that can win Olympic medals both in the water and on the land. And I think these two, and not to mention Alex Morgan, she's an attractive girl, so I need the attractiveness to balance out Michael Phelps' goofy ass, because he's pretty ugly.
See, I like where you're going here. If I could make a suggestion, maybe we should have gone with somebody like, I like the Phelps, pair him with a Lindsey Vonn. And now you're going every Olympics. You're going skiing and you're going swimming. You can't play soccer. Well, I guess you could play soccer and swim at the same time.
Yeah.
That would be quite the story.
Well, yeah.
But I'm going, maybe, I don't know. Can you do both at the same Olympics?
I don't know. It's a good request. I'll run this by the folks
Just
over
keep it in mind.
over at my brand.
Is there a track athlete that did like bobsled?
Lolo Jones.
Lolo Jones, right? That's actually that would be a good one.
Track and bobsled dual threat there.
I think it would be insufferable though.
I just look at soccer players as being really good athletes, though. Good endurance.
Good take.
Well, I mean, more so than a skier.
Yeah, that's true.
I think a soccer player naturally is a better athlete than a skier.
You got to think of specialization.
No offense to the skiing community, but kick rocks.
Yeah,
soccer players are better.
You got to think of specialization too. Like, there's something to be said for like a skier, because not a lot of people ski. But then you got to deal with your kid being a skier, and that's a potentially.
Well, I want.
Well, it's not your kid.
It's a bigger stage for soccer, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
It's very global. It's not. I think it's a niche market in terms of if I get somebody into winter sports.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I get factors involved there.
Do you want to talk about people pooping?
I'd love to. We got
it's time to
really hitting on the basics of the human body.
Yeah. This has turned into an anatomy class. Andre, are we good to go with the poop video?
You want me to roll it?
Yeah, roll the video.
Yeah.
Do you want to set this up?
Well, okay. So
you found this.
Just
a
quick.
find.
Yeah. This is what.
An introduction might be necessary.
This is what we do for work. We come across videos like this. Basically, from what I was reading, is that this kid told his buddies, look, I can lift what I think they said it was 185 pounds. I saw that on Therese Owens is where I found the video.
185, so we're looking at.
But it's a kid that's gonna put up something on the bench. He told his buddies, listen, I can do this, no sweat. and it was more than sweat that ended up coming from this whole thing.
All right, here we go.
Let's just take a look.
So we're not gonna be able to hear this, are we, Andre?
He bet you $20.
So he's loading up. That looks like it might even be more than one. What did you say? 185.
185, I think.
That might be two.
There we go.
2 plates on each side. So he's gonna already lift it and.
Oh boy.
And he's gonna have to check his drawers.
You gotta. Well. So obviously this kid has bigger issues. He's got bigger issues than not being able to put up this weight. Now he's got a whole laundry situation he's got to deal with. This will set him back. This will set him back a little bit. We gotta go give it another go around.
He's got poop in his pants. He's so excited.
You gotta. He
didn't even come close to getting the weight up either.
He looks pretty. Yeah.
So you go hit it one time.
He came after he crapped his pants, but I love the reactions.
It was such a. It's such a.
His buddy who's supposed to be spotting him.
Well, and the thing is, it's too wet to be able to play off as like a foot rubbed up against the floor the wrong way.
There's no questioning that guy.
No, that leaves nothing up to the
very
imagination.
least farted.
Yeah. So that's concerning. The wetness factor is.
Thank God he wasn't wearing shorts.
It tells me that he's got to go home and do a load of laundry.
I don't even know if you get home wearing those.
I got another issue with him putting himself in this compromising situation.
What? Trying to lift 200 pounds while he's about ready?
Well, for him, there's no winning in this.
No.
It's either so you put it up. So what if he succeeds and puts up the weight? Nobody cares.
He's a viral superstar now, though.
It's so you see, you did because he crapped himself.
Well,
it's I don't think that's a reason you don't want to be a viral superstar for that. But so you put it up once, nobody cares. You don't put it up, you get made fun of, and then now we've seen. I didn't even know this third option was on the table, but you crap yourself, and you're the butt of internet jokes. No pun intended. For the foreseeable future.
Oh, that is a crappy situation. I was gonna make one more point. I forget what it was. Oh, would you rather do this? Would you rather crap yourself or like break your elbow? Like he was trying to lift it, his elbow just broke.
I crap myself.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because you'll get over
pain
that at
isn't
some
real,
point.
yeah.
You bring out the Zamboni
take
and
a
clean up
shower.
whatever residue happens to be in the area, and then you take care of it. It's an easier fix. You break your elbow, you're talking about hospital trips and bills, and
you gotta fumigate.
It's easy to get a new pair of underwear. But it does bring us back to a previous incident in which there was speculation as to whether somebody crapped themselves. And I know we were talking about this the other day.
That's one of my favorite stories.
Conspiracy theory. So basically, this was a 2008, right? NBA Finals.
Yeah, the NBA Finals. Supposedly, Paul Pierce crapped himself in the NBA Finals. And there's a big long theory that says because Paul Pierce did a number 2 in his basketball shorts at home, by the way, in white shorts, and there's even like Zapruder-like film, Zapruder film type of tape.
The video of it is good because it's basically debunking the moon landing. It's like you see the shadow here.
Right.
It's like it looks like a brown spot on the back of his drawers.
At the least, it could be just coloration of like where his shorts are in the frame.
Sat on some rust.
Or he sat on something. Right. Probably didn't crap himself. But the theory is that he used the excuse of falling down and getting hurt as an excuse to be carried off on the wheelchair. That infamous scene where he got carried off on the wheelchair, and people now think that it was just because he had poop in his pants and he didn't want to walk off.
So my question for you is if this is indeed the case, if he pooped his pants, national TV, NBA Finals, a lot of people watching, is that the play? You go for the wheelchair technique?
Yeah.
I think it's a genius.
Yeah,
I
do too.
If this turns out,
I want it to be true because I think it is genius.
Oh, it is so genius because not only do you come away from that, the crowd's fired up because you're looking like as theatrical and as over the top as it was. You coming back in the game after leaving in a wheelchair, it made for good. It makes for good theater. People are fired up about that. You get the Rocky theme song playing. You look like a hero in Boston. All because you got away with crapping yourself. Talk about just turning a crappy situation into something that's gonna go down in sports history.
Yep.
Comeback story of the year.
Incredible.
Of a lifetime, really.
The Ringer did a whole story about it. Go look it up. Just Google Paul Pierce, any variation of crap or poop. It'll come up.
Use whatever lingo you want.
The theory or the conclusion is that it probably didn't happen, but it's more fun.
I would say it's more probable
than
not that it didn't happen.
Didn't crap himself.
All right.
So, anyway.
It's always good to get to act like we're 9 years old again.
Yeah,
Can't imagine we ever grow up, really. So.
No. All right, we're gonna skip show and tell this week because whoops. And then we're gonna go right into prediction of the week. Ricky, can you kick us off with prediction of the week? Because I have to think of one.
Yeah. Well, we know your Butler prediction, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna go to the boxing world. Heavy on combat sports
Sure.
my predictions here. I'm going to say that Anthony Joshua is going to knock out Vladimir Klitschko this weekend. There's expected to be about 90,000 people at Wembley Stadium for this boxing match, which you could argue might be the biggest of the last decade or even 15 years, really. I know that boxing's kind of been a dying sport, and it's and a lot of it stems from the fact that the heavyweight division just absolutely stinks. In this instance, you got a 27-year-old up-and-comer, 18-0, 18 knockouts, fighting a guy who's been in about 1,000 fights and is 41 years old, I believe. So it's weird. It's kind of a little passing of the torch if you're into that sort of thing, if you're into boxing. But I think that Joshua's going to knock him out, and Klitschko hasn't suffered a knockout since 2004. So it's a pretty big deal if it happens. I know it might not tickle a lot of people's fancy, but it's a prediction. It's out there. I think that's going to happen. So
Yeah, sure.
I didn't want to go anything with too draft related. Not a lot of
I know.
shelf life.
Yeah, I still, like I said, I think Malcolm Butler gets traded, but I'm going to go with a different one. I'm going to go somebody on the Boston Celtics is going to be suspended.
Oh,
how's that?
Ooh, all right. It's getting chippy.
Celtics
series.
Bulls, very chippy. And now I'm projecting ahead. As we're doing this, the Celtics have a 3-2 lead, as do the Washington Wizards. That means that the Celtics and the Wizards both advance. The Celtics will take on the Wizards in the second round, which is going to be awesome. These teams hate each other. I think maybe we get one game in before we film next week. Maybe there's a kerfuffle there. So I'm saying I've got 2, maybe 3 chances over the next week for somebody in the Celtics to do something really stupid. They have a handful of guys who seem capable of doing something very stupid. I think it does happen. Either Gerald Green or Marcus Smart, we'll even get more specific, will be suspended at some point by the NBA the next week.
All right. Well, as long as nobody craps themselves, I think we'll be in a good place.
Oh, if you crap yourself, just look for the wheelchair. Yep. So that's it for us messing around. I'm Mike Cole. That's Ricky Doyle. Thanks for joining us and indulging us in our poop talk. Apologies to Philly if we said something that might offend you, especially if you're a draft.
We broke them down to build them up.
This is not the kind of show you're looking
Apologies
for.
to everybody working at the Hoover Dam tourist office.
If you're a draftnik out of born and raised in Philly who loves skiing and now works at the Hoover Dam, we are sorry. But that's the way it goes.
Not for everyone.
Yeah.
Can't please everyone, Mike.
So that's it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.